Morning, guys. It's Easter. We're going to work on the shop for a little bit today. Well, probably won't be out here more than a few hours today, but we're going to try to get some stuff accomplished. And we've got quite a bit accomplished yesterday. Just didn't have time to take any videos with all the people that were here and noise level. But I'll show you some of the stuff that we got that we're going to do today. We're going to go through and we're going to index planer units, basically make sure the depth is the same on each row. I made this. You can buy these, but to me they're a little expensive, so I made this. This will set the depth at 2.5 inches, which is what I usually like to plant corn at, unless we have plenty of moisture. I'll plant a little shallower, but not much. But basically we take this and put it on a jack and stick it underneath the gauge wheels and lift it up. Then I'll go through and set this to where it stops at, and then I'll put marks. So then I always know that that's 2.5 inches on each one, because they all can be different as you go through. And having everything planted at the same depth is the key to having even emergence. And it does pay to do this, because we started doing this and our stands are a lot better. They come up more even. It's actually kind of impressed. But like I said before, the little things is what matters when you're a small farmer trying to make it. Okay, I said we were going to go through indexing row units. So I showed you this. This is 2.5 inches. You just put it on a jack. Go ahead and jack it up. I got my dad helping me today. So you just get it centered and keep going until it lifts the row unit up just a little bit. Okay, that's good. And you always want to make sure that your depth stop is all the way down or to the deepest setting. And then all you do is simply slide it up. Won't quite go in that hole, so I'll just index it back a little bit, and that's 2.5 inches. So we're just gonna go through, do that on every row unit, make sure everything is the same. One thing I like to do is take a permanent marker and mark where each pin is, so then you always know that that's 2.5 inches. So then if somebody goes by, or your kids or whatever start messing with them, it's a quick visual to make sure you're still set correctly. All right, we're gonna put these load pins in. Basically, it measures how much downforce is on each unit, and we're putting 8 of these in, and then it will average between them to run our airbags at the proper poundage to get the ride quality and the downforce that we need. These are pretty simple to put in. Take this pin out, or Jesus clips, what I call them. So when they fly across the shop and you say Jesus, save that and take this, and if you're lucky, slide right in. I'm usually not lucky. Sometimes you gotta use a punch and a hammer. You gotta try to get the other side lined up so the pin will slide through. And you screw this bolt in at the very top. And take your Jesus clip. Put it back on so it holds it in there. And that's it. That's all it takes. Okay, we're continuing our precision updates. Since we put the weigh pins in, we have to have these row unit modules. They call them RUMs. We got these used because we're trying to stay somewhat on a budget, and we're spending quite a bit of money this year. But you got to have these to run your weigh pins, and basically they plug into your row sensor harness. They don't always snap in very good. And then the other one plugs into your seed tube sensor. And then we're also, since we're gonna run starter fertilizer, Precision makes these flow units that will read the flow. They're basically a flow rater. So then we can know on every row how much starter is going into the furrow, because starter in the furrow can be kind of a dangerous thing. If you end up with too much, you can burn the seed or really mess up your emergence. So, but if you do it right, the benefits are well worth it. So we're gonna install this RUM and get the seed tube put in, and we'll go from there. So you take this this bolt out. I seem to have lost my wrench. So take this bolt out. You don't use that anymore. Take the RUM, get a little bit longer bolt. I'm putting a washer on the outside, just so there's not much metal on these units in my mind. So they got one hole in them. We're gonna go ahead and mount it right there. It's got these little plastic things along here that hug the frame, which help keep it in place. So put a flat washer and a lock washer. Get that all centered up. Don't have to get real tight because it is only plastic. And we're gonna go ahead and we'll come inside the shank. Take an air blower. Get all the dirt out of the pin for the seed tube. The seed tube hooks on that little pin down there, and that's what holds it in place, and they get full of dirt, and then they don't stay in place the way they should. And then these seed tubes came out of these units that we had bought. They're still good. There's nothing wrong with them. When they go bad, the bottoms of the tips will be rolled over, or there'll be like a ridge right here, but there is no ridge. So these ones are good. We're going to use them. Seed sensors are fine. So we're gonna go ahead and blow these. One thing we didn't talk about with the weigh pins is the wire comes up through the top of the weigh pin. You need to run it underneath through the shank, and there's a little divider underneath here that we can't show you because it's way inside of here. You got to get it fished through over the top of that divider so it comes out up here, so you can plug everything in up here. But put the seed tube in. Before you do that, you need to make sure that you plug these in. they go down inside the hole. So you want to push that in there and make sure you hold it forward as best you can. Push it in there, you'll hear it click in, and just double check to make sure your prongs are all set and it's hooked on the bottom. And we'll go through and hook up the weigh pin. And then the roll flow sensor has arrows on it, which shows the way that the liquid flows. So we'll go ahead and we'll push that into there. We don't have our lines in for up to the wet boom yet, but this goes ahead, has 2 connectors, only one gets used. We're going to plug that in. Then your original seed tube harness gets plugged into the rum. One thing some people didn't know is if these don't want to plug in, super easy, even if they're super clean. You just take some electrical cleaner. Only use electrical cleaner because it won't damage the connector. You just spray them lightly. Makes it so they plug right in. You don't have any problems. Don't have to fight them. And all we got to do is go through and tie everything up nice and neat so it doesn't end up in the chains. But we won't bore you with that process. We got these fertilizer pumps we got put on. They're run by these controllers. Simply controls how fast the pump's running. Kennedy, she's building the brackets to hang them in the tractor. We picked up this nice drill press at the tool fair, Campbell Supply. Might be the best thing we ever bought. Otherwise we were just using a hand drill, doing it by hand. This is so much easier. Safety first. Well, that's about like watching paint dry. Right, Dan? We'll come up here and look at the setup up here in the tractor while we wait. Don't mind the mess. It's still kind of work in progress. We got our 2630. A precision display. This is actually a Gen 1. We have a Gen 2. We just haven't swapped them out yet. Clean sweep. Our AMVAC smart box controller. Obviously our fold box. And then we'll go through and clean everything up and tidy everything up, and tractor will be done.
Morning, guys. It's Monday. It's about 5:30. We're gonna start the truck to House of Pigs. Get the week started. It's about all we're gonna have for this video. I'll try to get some more for next week. See if we could actually get on a weekly basis. Gonna try anyway. So have a good week. Talk to you guys later.